Good evening, Chair. Calls to order State of the County and Legislative Address for Harford County. Council, this evening, we will hear from the County Executive, who will deliver his annual State of the County address. But first, we have a video prepared by the administration. So whenever you're ready. Love it.
Start dancing.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting our show together, we're polishing up our act. And if you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Well, don't you let nothing, nothing stand in your way. I want y'all to listen, listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. I know. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. We got it. I know you know someone that has a negative vibe, and if you're trying to make it, they only push you aside. They really don't have nowhere to go. Ask them where they're going, they don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good, good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't stop the. I can't stop the.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Harford County Executive Bob Castley.
Good evening. Sorry about the inconvenience. I appreciate you indulging my slowness here. I want to thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President and council members. Good to see you all. I'm going to thank you all here for being out here on this delightfully cold winter's evening. As you all saw in the video, there's a sign just outside my office door that says "Always do right." That was a gift from my dad. He was a World War II veteran of the Merchant Marines who, at 18 years of age, worked in the engine room of a Liberty ship being chased by Nazi subs across the North Atlantic. And as your county executive, doing the right thing has been my guiding light for these past 3 years. Always do right for the county that I was born in and love. Always do right for the great people who live and work in this county. That's who I'm working for. We're not for any powerful insiders, but for the people who want safe communities, good schools, good jobs, good quality of life. That includes open spaces and roads that aren't crowded or dangerous, with beautiful farms and parkland. I'm especially committed to helping those among us who pitch in to help their neighbors, who volunteer their time, their talent, their treasures to make Harford County such a very special place to be. You know, on my first day in office, it was pretty fun and exciting until I met my budget team, Robbie, who gave me a cold dose of reality. Let me know I'd inherited a $90 million structural deficit, and that our options were to increase taxes or spending cuts that were certain to upset our government agencies and others dependent on our big government spending. Because I very firmly believe that the government must live within the means of our taxpayers, I chose fiscal responsibility and efficiencies over a tax increase. Fast forward to today. Our AAA bond rating has been retained. We run awards for budgetary transparency. Our treasurer, Robbie Sandless, has been recognized statewide for his leadership in fiscal stewardship. And don't get a big head, Robbie. Still, fiscal responsibility has created a lot of noise from those who wanted more government spending piled on top of our hard-working taxpayers and families. My treasurer and the Spending Affordability Committee were even derided here in this very council chambers. But we all stood firm, and we did the right thing for our citizens. And the county's in a far better fiscal position today for that. The state of the county is strong. Our Harford community is strong and highly desirable, thanks to the many who have worked so hard to improve our quality of life over the generations. The men and women who created and supported our agricultural preservation program, who protect our families, who built our parks and our trails and taught our children and coached them, our volunteers and volunteer firefighters and EMS, the folks who channeled our growth into defined areas and protected our open spaces, and so many more people who've labored for the love of Harford County and their fellow citizens. Their immense efforts are our efforts and are our legacy to carry forward, and I feel a great sense of responsibility to uphold that legacy. Certainly growth has to happen, but it must benefit all of us, not just a select few. To that end, our comprehensive rezoning proposal that we submitted to this council did not include any upzoning for residential properties. We purchased over 200 acres of open space for passive and active recreation. We preserved an additional 4,536 acres of farmland from further development. We stopped plans supported by your predecessors on the council to build mega warehouses in Abingdon, Woods, and Perryman, and apartments in Falston and Benson and Forest Hill and Hickory. So instead of unbridled development, Hartford's economic future it's in our small businesses. It's in our expanding high-tech manufacturing sector. It's in the brilliant folks at Aberdeen Proving Ground and our rapidly expanding medical services sector and more. For too many decades, we've heard special interests that tell us that our only road as a county to financial security was through big development with mega warehouses and high-density apartments and rapid expansion of the development corridor. My administration rejects that approach. Our future does not lie in compromising on our quality of life, but on improving it. Our business community is flourishing because we're delivering the strong families and the good schools necessary to generate and retain a well-educated and reliable workforce. And we provide the essentials the employers need to sustain and retain that quality workforce, such as strong public safety, effective and efficient government, moderate taxes, beautiful parks and open spaces, recreation and cultural opportunities, diverse communities of faith, good roads, government that ensures all of us play by the same rules. With our support and the collaboration of the Harford County Public Schools, our schools are #1 in the state for youth apprenticeships. We're hosting well-attended job fairs to promote the trades right here in Harford County. And we've strengthened our partnership with our #1 employer, Aberdeen Proving Ground, and Aberdeen Proving Ground's providing new opportunities for growth, both on and off post. Major defense contractors have now established his offices here in Harford County, some of the latest including DRS Leonardo, Deloitte, Fairwinds Technology, and Semper Valance. Hello Hartford, our new tourism marketing organization, hit the ground running and helping tourism-related businesses work together to generate success. With our thriving economic base, my administration is able to focus on what matters most to our everyday citizens and families. Public safety is our top priority because if you're not safe in your home and your community, nothing else really matters, does it? That means supporting the men and women who protect us every day. And I want to acknowledge the sheriff and the deputies that are here today. Thank you all very much, gentlemen and ladies. For our deputies, we have for the past 3 years funded competitive salaries and benefits at levels recommended in the sheriff's salary study. We provided them with first-rate police equipment, including upgrades to the newest radio technology and the newest police vehicles. We now have 17 active ambulance units with the latest technology stationed countywide, answering 30,000 calls per year. And this is important. When the minutes count, their response time is usually under 8 minutes. I recall an incident when I first came into office where an elderly woman fell and was unconscious and when she struck her head. And she waited for over 20 minutes for a unit to respond. Those delays are gone. That doesn't happen. Our investments in new equipment for ambulance are also saving lives every day. The new whole blood program and the rapid intubation system are our latest innovations. RSI was tested soon after it was fielded. On Christmas Eve, just this past Christmas Eve, when a career medic used RSI for a young man in his 20s who was in unstable condition after his vehicle was struck by a semi. Thanks to our skilled paramedics, the patient was successfully intubated with this new system before he was flown to shock trauma. And I want to thank our EMS division chief, Caitlin Ledford, who's with us here tonight, and EMS captain, Natalie Stotler. Can you both stand up? Stay here. Natalie is the one who saved, no, on the right, on your left, my right. She's the one who saved that young man on Christmas Day. Thank you very much. To ensure rapid response times countywide, we completed a new fire and ambulance station at Bell Camp, which will be opening soon, and a new station at Whiteford is moving forward. Our amazing and highly dedicated volunteer fire companies received record funding last year. And with our support, our volunteer fire companies are experimenting with alternative structures and operations to ensure rapid response times, like paid driver programs and living quarters for volunteers. And the county is taking on more of the administrative burdens and expenses from our volunteer fire companies. You may recall that in June of 2024, that we had the big fire at Stepping Stones, and at nearly the same time, there was a shooting at the Hartford Mall. I was on the scene, and every volunteer fire company in the county was involved in one way or another in these two events. And I just have to tell you how, watching these folks work together with our sheriff's office and our state police and others that we rely upon, I just couldn't have been more proud. These folks do an amazing job working selflessly together. And I want to ask our volunteer fire company officers that are here today, Chuck Moore and Holly Tesserman, if they can stand. You guys here? And in recognition of the physical toll and the long-term risks associated with the selfless service by these volunteers, and particularly the heightened risk that they face of occupational cancer, Hartford County is proud to announce this evening a new health initiative, the Volunteer Firefighter Cancer Screening Program. Thank you all very much. Now let's talk traffic. You're driving to work, taking the kids to school or to soccer. Nobody wants to sit in traffic. My administration has achieved unprecedented coordination with State Highway Administration to solve problems on our state roads that are our county's major arteries. To aid in efficiency, we focused on synchronizing the traffic lights along major corridors like routes 24, 924, and 1 and 22. And to address critical traffic hazards, we're working on or have completed projects with State Highway on 23 at Grafton Shop Road and Route 40 at Ohio and Ostego, and on Route 1 at Record. And we are still working on quite a few other initiatives with State Highway. On our county roads, we've repaired 45 miles of roadway. We have a project underway on Spasucia and completed an innovative and cost savings roundabout on the Bel Air South Parkway. I have a major announcement tonight regarding Woodley Road. 3P, hold your breath. After years of effort, we're finally ready to move forward with construction of that road to divert truck traffic from the residential areas of Perryman, from the Perryman Peninsula out to the highway. We'll be putting this project out to bid in February, next month, and anticipate shovels in the ground this summer. And again, I want to thank 3P for being a lead advocate to push this one through. Thank you all. We've also made substantial improvement to our county transit system, our bus transit. 88% of those operations are funded by federal and state grants. Cost savings route routing, this is tough. Cost saving routing software, there you go, has increased our ridership to 414,000 passengers, while at the same time reducing our mileage by 200,000 miles per year. So that's a pretty great efficiency. For education, we funded the superintendent's FY26 budget. We also agreed with the Board of Education last year to a 3-year budget deal. And I'm prepared to send you a budget that will fully fund our agreed upon 6.5% increase for FY27. Our teachers have gotten raises every year, and Hartford County is currently on track to achieve the $60,000 starting salary for our teachers that's mandated by the state blueprint for education. We purchased a new school site in Fountain Green on the former Evamar property, and construction is planned on a new elementary school and a school for those with special needs on that site. For our high school students, our collaboration with our schools and business community, again, has made our schools #1 in the state for job apprenticeships that allow our high school students to work part-time while still in school, and that provides them with a great gateway to a superior job upon graduation. We completed the new Homestead Wakefield Elementary School, which is quite a gem if you haven't been in it, and a major stormwater management project at Falston Middle and Falston High School that offers students dual purpose. It offers students a living classroom outside to learn about the environment, while also protecting our environment. And our IT department has connected all 57 public school locations to the county's modern VoIP phone system. With safer communities and stronger investment in education, we are also focused on making everyday life better for our citizens. Citizens of all ages need places to play and enjoy the fresh air in the open space. We've invested in parks and ball fields. We upgraded Annie's Playground in Fallston, and we're moving forward with construction of 5 new ball fields in Fallston and renovating the fields in Hickory. We purchased 129 acres in Joppa for ball fields in Parkland, and we upgraded the Cunyon fields in Edgewood. And planning is now underway for the Oakington Peninsula Park System that will be a crown jewel for not just Harford County, but for the Mid-Atlantic, with 1,400 acres of waterfront property. We're investing the proceeds of the marijuana sales tax to support youth mentorship programs in cooperation with Harford County Public Schools and youth summer camps. We're enriching the lives of our senior citizens with innovative health and nutrition and exercise programs that earned our Office on Aging national and state awards. Using the latest bus routing software, Harford Transit was able to identify extra capacity, and they filled that capacity by offering our seniors to over 600 senior housing residents free trips to dine at local restaurants, go shopping, etc. And I hear everybody had a great time with that. Yeah. We supported outside organizations doing good work for our community by distributing $1.3 million to 27 nonprofits identified by our Department of Housing and Community Services. We hosted a record turnout again this year for our Veterans Resource Fair. And I want to thank Bob Brown especially for that. We supported our farmers with the county's first full-time dedicated agricultural advisor and provided farm businesses with ag grants to promote creative approaches to sustaining agriculture. And think about your favorite restaurant, your small shops, or my favorite, your hairstylist. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. While no one business is the number one employer, together they are our number one employer. And this year, we provided a record $1 million in low-interest small business loans, and we facilitated more than $4 million in federal and state and private grants to empower the success of our small business community. Our Water and Sewer Division is providing award-winning drinking water for the 3rd year in a row. I want to thank Bill Bettine again for leading this outstanding effort. And as a highlight, we are the first county in the state to have our own lab certified to test for PFAS. That's, again, Bill Bettine. Thank you very much for that. That's quite an achievement, putting us right up there at the top. Our law department is enforcing civil citation for those who repeatedly violate our quality of life code and taking developers to task who violate our environmental regulations. And we can't forget the animals, our furry creators, our furry friends. My administration will be adding additional funds to the Humane Society to support their care for the extraordinary number of abused animals that have been seized by our law enforcement officers. That's been a huge burden on the Humane Society, and more than what they bargained for. But just to be clear, I want to thank the Sheriff's Office for enforcing the law and seizing the animals. But there is the other side of that. You got to care for them once you seize them. So that's the Humane Society's role. Look, we're not content to make just part of Harford County great. We want every zip code in our beautiful county to enjoy the highest quality of life. After decades of politicians talking about improving Route 40 corridor, we took action. Our Southern County Task Force has leveraged $4 million in federal and state funding. Citizens also leveraging indispensable sweat equity and strong support from our business community to improve the safety, aesthetics, and opportunity in Edgewood, Joppatown, and Belcamp. And we earned national and state awards for this innovative task force, including awards to the National Association of Counties and the Maryland Association of Counties. And with us tonight, we have one of our great partners in that effort, and that is the 755 Alliance. And I invite the chair of that, Bank Tom Miller, and her fellow board members to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. We honestly could not be prouder of them, and nor could we find a better partner in the business sector and the community to make that effort work. They've been outstanding. The work our county does is made possible by our county employees. And I see you all in the field doing great work every day. We have an exceptional quality of workforce built on hiring and retaining the best. To better serve our county employees, we recently opened a county health center to serve their health needs. And their workforce structure, salary, and benefit study is in progress to better align job skills and pay to ensure that our pay is competitive. And as you saw from the video, we have award-winning administration. Just some of their amazing achievements include a $38 million in savings through our procurement just during my administration. 304 claims resolved by our law department in 2025 alone, and law is currently handling 124 claims to assist our sheriff's office. All of this despite the stress and strains of operating on a very limited budget. Planning and zoning completed comprehensive rezoning with no recommended expansion of development envelope. And last year alone, our Citizens Affairs Division responded to nearly 4,000 inquiries, usually all within 24 hours, including weekends and holidays, to ensure outstanding customer service throughout our county. Looking ahead, what's next? Well, planning and zoning really already is working with the community on the master plan for the next 10 years. It will be transparent, user-friendly process, focused on growing our economy while preserving our quality of life. We'll continue to push back on state mandates for solar farms on our prized ag land and state mandates for increased housing density. In partnership with Harvard Community College, and Teresa Felder is here today, and thank you very much for being here. Acknowledge Dr. Felder, who has been an outstanding partner. We're working together and pursuing a workforce development center to be located on public transit that will really aid in providing our young folks and folks of all ages with additional training to enter the job force, meaningful jobs. So thank you very much for that. To ensure the public safety, we'll continue to stand behind our deputies and our volunteer fire company volunteers to provide record funding and capitalize equipment purchases for the volunteer fire companies so they don't have to spend all their life fundraising and reduce their administrative burdens. We'll begin construction of a new building to house our Special Operations Division, which will allow us to both improve operations but also terminate expensive leases. Our Parks and Rec Department will complete the Maw Trail this summer for a beautiful 8-mile trail system that will connect four park systems, from Annie's Playground in Fallston to the Heavenly Waters Park through the town of Bel Air to Blake's Venture and then on to Friends Park in Forest Hill. What a gem. We'll continue working with the state on the extension of the Susquehanna River Trail, and we will move forward with the recreation centers in Aberdeen and Joppa. We'll invest in more activities and facilities for a growing senior population to ensure that they can remain vital and active parts of our community. And we'll continue to expand broadband in the north of the county. For our schools, we'll continue our commitment to our teachers, expand the apprenticeship programs, construct a new school at the Hartford Academy, a new elementary school, and we'll fund new roof at Hall's Crossroad in Aberdeen. To strengthen our small business community, we'll continue our extensive business support initiatives and expand our small business loans program and our facade improvement grant. And we'll continue moving forward with the development of the meat processing facility that's really essential for the success and the growth of our beef industry. Our law department must continue to be a leader in protecting our county personnel, property, and investments. The department must be adequately resourced to ensure every county department and the sheriff's office have competent legal advisors to execute agreements and resolve and litigate cases with exceptional competence. Before closing, I would like to say a word about the next budget. Our FY27 budget will once again be fiscally responsible and will continue to focus on our key priorities of public safety and education. Think of the budget as a pie chart, if you will. About half of our tax dollars go to education. Another quarter go to public safety. And that's because all of these are our top priorities. But the final 1 quarter is a pretty important one. That's just 1 quarter of our tax dollars, supports everything else that county government does, including highway maintenance, parks and recreation, senior centers and senior programs, managing our building permits and protecting our taxpayers and employees, supplying water and sewage, and so much more. As in every year, some of the entities that we fund in the other 3/4 of the budget that is outside of county government will demand outsized spending increases. These increases can only be funded through higher taxes, which I'm not going to support. In the past, the council has attempted to satisfy those demands for greater spending by the outside entities by making last-minute cuts to the 1/4 of the budget that is our county government. Those surprise cuts have had real consequences. We had to delay for a full year the scheduled improvements to Citizens Care Nursing Center that would have provided an additional 20 bed spaces for seniors. We had to delay construction of a new state's attorney's office that is essential to the overall improvements of courthouse security. We had to delay essential improvements to see Milton Wright High School's roof. And our law department has had to struggle to defend our taxpayers' interests due to unprecedented cuts in their budget. Make no mistake, my administration is fully prepared to work with this council to identify real efficiencies and to legislate for the benefit of our citizens. Unfortunately, that collaboration was made more difficult by the council's recent announcement from the President's office that our weekly coordination meetings between our offices, which we've held for the past 3 years, have been terminated. I urge you to restore those meetings. In conclusion, 2026 is a big year. We will be celebrating the 250th anniversary of this beautiful country. We are blessed to live in the greatest nation on God's earth. Our founding fathers had a vision of government by the people. And it's the people that make America great, not special interests and not a powerful few. In Harford County, I've stood up to the powerful few. And trust me, it would have been a whole lot easier to just go along to get along. I could play the peacemaker by giving in to demands for more spending, but I'd be doing it with taxpayer dollars and sacrificing our citizens' quality of life. I'm not going to do either. So the noise will likely continue, but I'm not going to be bullied, but I will take the heat from the power brokers and remain focused on our core values: fiscal responsibility, public safety, quality education, economic strength, protecting our seniors and our children, and realizing the opportunities that we have for our citizens to live in the greatest nation on God's earth, the United States of America. Thank you all, and good night.
Mike's your perfect height for me. I'm going to talk a lot less. Sorry I'm not wearing the red coat, but I did get my hair cut. So Happy New Year and good evening, County Executive Cashley, my council colleagues, directors, deputy directors, and the great citizens of Harford County. On behalf of myself and my colleagues, I would like to begin by thanking the professionals who keep our county running every day. Those who keep our roads clear during bad weather, our police officers, 911 operators, EMTs, our public works employees. We sincerely appreciate their dedication and all their efforts. Hopefully we don't get a lot of snow this year and you don't have to clean up, but I know everybody's hoping for that. It's been an honor to serve as your council vice president, and during these past 7 years, I've had the pleasure to introduce our council president on this occasion of our legislative address. At the beginning of my term as a council member 7 years ago, I was experienced in working with businesses and individuals. Since then, the journey of public service has profoundly reshaped my understanding of what it truly means to serve our citizens. Much of the growth has come through thoughtful dialogue, learning to approach issues with care and to consider the broader impact of every decision, recognizing that each choice affects our community every single day. Each day I reflect on what makes Harford County such a great place to live, work, play, and learn. Called Hartford County home since 1977. I'm a proud graduate of Bel Air High, Hartford Community College, University of Maryland at College Park. For more than 34 years as a business owner, my focus has always been Hartford County first, working to attract new investment, highlight the remarkable talent that exists within our community. This evening, I'm honored to introduce not only our council president, but also my mentor, Patrick Vincenti. I am deeply grateful for his guidance over the years, always willing to answer my questions, offer thoughtful advice, and value my perspective in return. Pat excels at listening and working collaboratively to resolve issues through compromise. When he does not have the answer, he turns to those with greater expertise, and that, in my view, is a true mark of leadership. A lifelong resident of Hartford County, Council President Patrick Vincenti has served with integrity, commitment, and respect for the community. It's my honor to present you Council President Patrick Vincenti.
Thank you, Vice President Jan Giordano, for your introduction and for your dedication and service to Hartford County. Tony, I also want to personally thank you for your steadfast friendship over the years. Good evening, County Executive, Mrs. Castley, council members, directors, elected officials, county employees, and my fellow Hartford Countyans. It is truly an honor and a privilege to speak with you this evening. As I said in last year's legislative address, every legislative year presents its own challenges, often unexpected ones, and this past year was no exception. For the first time in the history of the county charter, the council was required to appoint members to 2 vacancies within the same year. On January 7, 2025, we appointed Councilwoman Nalanda Robert to represent District A. On April 22, 2025, we appointed Councilwoman Allison Imhoff to represent District B. While the circumstances that led to these vacancies was unfortunate, Hartford County has been well served by the individuals who stepped forward. Since their appointments, Councilwoman Robert and Councilwoman Imhoff have fully immersed themselves in their districts, listening to their constituents, advocating for their concerns, while serving with passion, integrity, and diligence. Jacob, Jess, Jimmy, Tony, Allison, Nalanda, it's truly an honor to serve alongside of each of you. I appreciate your commitment and dedication to your districts and to our citizens. Tonight marks my final legislative address as council president. If there was one lesson that I've learned in nearly 12 years on this council, 8 of them as president, it is that no one governs alone. Results require communication and collaboration, and yes, at times, it requires compromise. We're all human, and we all have our own vision and ideas, which means we do not always agree on the exact path forward. But we must always be willing to work together in good faith. Our county and our citizens do not benefit and prosper through one voice or one vision. It succeeds when leaders listen, engage, and respect differing perspectives. That principle is especially important in maintaining the balance between the legislative and executive branches of government. This balance is the foundation of our charter system. While we often share the same ultimate goals for our citizens, our roles are distinct. It's the council's responsibility to provide checks and balances, to ensure transparency, and to hold government accountable. Hartford County moves forward most effectively when both branches respect the constitutional roles while working toward a common vision for our residents. Over my time on this council, we have accomplished a great deal together. All of us recognize that our children are our greatest asset. They represent our future. This council has consistently supported capital investments in Harford County Public Schools, Harford Community College, to ensure students have modern, safe, and effective learning environments. Just as importantly, we have worked to ensure that stakeholders, teachers, parents, and students all have a voice. We've succeeded when collaboration replaces division and when decisions are made in the best interest of our children. To be frank, the safety of our 265,000 residents is not negotiable. This council has supported the expansion of EMS services, strengthened our LoSAP programs for our volunteers, and prioritized recruitment and retention efforts across public safety agencies. We have stood shoulder to shoulder with law enforcement, ensuring the Sheriff's Office has competitive pay, modern equipment, and advanced technology to meet the demands of the 21st century policing. We've avoided politics and infighting and focused on what works, because keeping our communities safe and our officers protected is what government should be in the business of doing, and it's a responsibility we take seriously. This is why Council continues to advocate and support the build-out of the Central Precinct. Small business are truly the backbone of the county's economy. A diverse economy requires strong infrastructure, education for a skilled workforce, and supportive policies to thrive. This council has remained committed to supporting entrepreneurs, job creators, and employers of all sizes. We continue to maintain a strong partnership with the Aberdeen Proving Ground, our county's largest employer, and the heartbeat of our defense community, ensuring it continues to thrive here at home. During my tenure on the council, I have participated in 4 health officer searches and ultimately established a long-standing, closer working relationship between the county council as the Board of Health and the Harford County Health Department, as well as the Maryland State Department of Health. We have advocated for additional funds to support the health department, particularly within the Environmental Health Division. Our most recent health officer search brought us to Ms. Lauren Levy. Since assuming the role, Ms. Levy has demonstrated professionalism, energy, and a forward-looking approach to public health programming. I want to thank you, Ms. Levy, for joining us this evening and for your service to our community. Can you please stand? Land use decisions shape the future of Harford County for generations. This council has worked diligently to balance responsible growth with the preservation of our agricultural heritage, permanently protecting nearly 11,000 acres of prime farmland and more than 100 family farms over the past 11 years. That brings our Harford County's total of ag preserved land to over 64,000 acres. These decisions are about quality of life, economic sustainability, and respecting the character of the communities we serve. And Mr. County Executive, I'm really pleased to hear that Woodley Road is moving forward. It's only been about 8 years. So perhaps the council's most significant responsibility is serving as the county's final fiscal authority over the annual budget. I'm immensely proud to say that in my nearly 12 years on this council, Harford County has maintained a AAA bond rating every single year. This achievement allows us to fund schools, infrastructure, and provide public services at the lowest possible cost to taxpayers. This rating is not symbolic. It is the result of sound decision-making. We have not always agreed with the administration's budget proposals, and when necessary, we have used the budget amendment process to provide transparency, cut through political rhetoric, and deliver a balanced budget that reflects both fiscal responsibility and community needs. We do look forward to receiving the fiscal year 27 budget on April 15th and beginning our work sessions shortly thereafter. Communication remains the most critical skill of any legislator. We look forward to continuing strong partnerships with Acting Superintendent Dr. Mack Dr. Felder, Sheriff Gaylor and your command staff, State's Attorney Healy, Clerk of the Court Michelle Karzeski, our state delegation, our municipal leaders, and fire and EMS leadership. I want to thank you for being here this evening and for your continued commitment to moving Hartford forward. These partnerships are essential to fulfilling our shared mission, which is serving the people of Hartford County. As I close, serving as your council president has truly been the honor of a lifetime. I remain committed to holding myself and this council to the highest moral and ethical standards. We each took an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of this state, and we do not take that responsibility lightly. I want to thank our exceptional council staff, Megan Alegi, Mila Dixon, Mary Kate Herbeck, Crystal Brooks, and our entire team for their professionalism and dedication. I want to offer my special thanks to my legislative aides, Samantha, Cynthia, and Sue, and to my budget advisors, Mr. Ondish and Mr. Parrish, for their tireless work. Now, Ms. Brooks, our county auditor, has recently brought to my attention that her last day working with Hartford County will be June 30th. Crystal, we thank you for your efficiency, your professionalism, your commitment, and dedication to the office of the county auditor, as well as the citizens of Hartford County for the past 14 years. You will truly be missed. Council will be charged with filling this important vacancy, and more details will be forthcoming in the next few months. Finally, to my wife Jeannie, thank you for your unwavering love and support for 51 years. That's a long time. You've been by my side and my partner in everything that we do. I couldn't serve in any capacity without you by my side. Hartford County is and will remain a great place to live, learn, work, and raise a family. My hope for the future is that we return to what has always made this county successful: respectful leadership, honest dialogue, and a shared commitment for results. When common sense leadership prevails, our Hartford County citizens win. Thank you, and God bless Hartford County. Good evening, Chair. Calls to order Legislative Session Day 26002. I'd ask you to please join us for the pledge, followed by the opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, thank you for making all things new. Open our hearts and minds as we conduct the people's business this evening. Lord, we look to you for hope, joy, and peace. Teach us mercy, forgiveness, and grace so we may walk with humility, compassion, and strength. We ask that you guide us with each step. We pray for your wisdom and your power. We thank you for the good work of others, and we ask that you are constantly with us. Father, we pray for discernment and insight as we are faced with decisions that have impact and effect on our county. Please continue to watch over our men and women in uniform, our first responders and their families. Thank you for the gift of life in all things. Amen.
Amen.
Agenda number 4, presentation of proclamations. We have none. 5, consideration petitions, applications, appointments, and nominations. Council appointment, Conowingo Dam Advisory Board. May I have a motion, please?
Council President, move to approve the appointment of Council Member Robert.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. It's been moved and seconded to approve or appoint Ms. Robert to this advisory board. Is there any discussion? Council, as I said last week, that we were approached by Cecil County government to sit on a board that they have for Constellation Energy and Conowingo Dam, and they've asked the administration to send over a representative, which they're doing, and then council has just, or in the process of appointing Ms. Robert. I don't know if you have anything to say, Ms. Robert, or not?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Yes, this interested me because I'm already doing some work between the Days Cove, going up the waters. And I've also worked in Cecil County, so I'm familiar with the Conowingo Dam, what it has to offer, and looking forward to working with the other members to make things environmentally friendly for the community.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Dixon?
Mr. President?
Aye.
Mrs. Robert?
Aye.
Mrs. Imhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Giangiordano?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Bulsato?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
There being 7 votes in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, the appointment is hereby approved. 6 special presentations, we have none. 7, approval of minutes, public hearing January 6, 2026. Legislative Day 26001, January 6, 2026. Are there any corrections to the minutes? There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved. Council, may I have general consent to move to item 11 and 12 on the agenda and come back to 8 thereafter?
So be.
Thank you. Agenda 11, call for final reading of bills. Bill 25018, supplemental appropriation, Harford Center and Citizens Care. May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move to approve Bill 25-018.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. It's been moved and seconded to move Bill 25018. Is there any discussion? Mr. Bennett?
Just as I said last week, I'm really happy to see this move forward. These are 2 amazing facilities. I know Citizens Care was just named one of the top 10 nursing home facilities in the state of Maryland. So this is just, I'm so thankful that we support these agencies and entities that do so much to support those in our community of greatest need.
Thank you. Mr. Giangiordano?
So I'm really happy about this bill. Actually, definitely, especially for Harford Center and the work that myself and Councilwoman Robert worked on this past year with the elevator. So knowing that this is an upgrade, I know Sherry's real happy about it, and so are we. So very important for our citizens, and definitely appreciate this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Dixon?
Mr. President?
Aye.
Mrs. Robert?
Aye.
Mrs. Imhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Giangiordano?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Bulsato?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
There being 7 votes in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, Bill 25018 is hereby approved. 12, enrollment of bills. Bill 25018 certifies as the text finally passed. 8, introduction of and consideration of resolutions. Resolution 00126, capital program changes, Harford Center and Citizens Care Center. May I have a motion?
Council President, I move to approve Resolution 001-26.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. It's been moved and second to approve Resolution 00126. Is there any discussion? Ms. Dixon?
Mr. President?
Aye.
Mrs. Robert?
Aye.
Mrs. Imhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Giangiordano?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Bulsato?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
There being 7 votes in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, Resolution 00126 is hereby approved. 9, introduction of bills, we have none. 10, introduction and consideration of amendments, we have none. 13, unfinished business, we have none. 14, new business, council request, approval for audit, Harford County Board of Education. Ms. Brooks?
Good evening.
Good evening. So, thank you for being here this evening. With the events of the past week, obviously, we had some discussions about the possibility of you doing an audit into the Board of Education's expenses and trip in '24. And we wanted to kind of ask you a few questions about the scope and depth of what you're planning to do.
Sure. So the scope of the review is related to, specifically, we're going to confirm that the expenses related to the conference trip were appropriate, allowable, and supported by receipts. We'll determine the impact of the HCPS equipment that was reported as missing and determine what steps were taken by HCPS to address the matter. So those are our project objectives.
Thank you, and I noticed Mr. Hubbard from the Aegis, the Baltimore Sun, is in the audience, and I kind of spoke to him yesterday, I believe it was, via text message. He was asking me some questions, and I told him that we were waiting for your completed audit. So when the time comes, we will make that public.
Okay.
Mr. Hubbard will get a copy of it as well as anybody else that's interested.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Bennett?
Do you have an anticipated timeline of when you expect completion by? Typically, you say, you know, goal of February 2026 or something like that.
Well, we always want to follow whatever information we glean as we're working through the project. My hope is to get you all something by the end of the week. If things change, they'll change, but my hope is by the end of the week.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Ms. Dixon? Oh, excuse me, I need a motion, yes. May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move to approve the audit.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rowley. Jumping ahead of myself. Is there any discussion? I think we covered that. Ms. Dixon?
Mr. President?
Aye.
Mrs. Robert?
Aye.
Mrs. Imhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Giangiordano?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Bolsados?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
There being 7 votes in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, the audit is hereby approved. Thank you. 15, comments and input from attending citizens. Ms. Dixon, do we have anyone signed up?
We do, Mr. President. We have 3 this evening.
Okay,
Jeff Beck, followed by John Malamo and Bill Wayland.
okay. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please.
Jeffrey Beck, 102 Shell Road, Joppatown, Maryland. Good evening, Council President and council members. Thanks for everything you do and for being here this evening to hear me gripe and groan and vent, which is really all this is going to be. County Executive kind of alluded to it. Harford County's master plan. I've spent the last 3 to 4 months reviewing the 2016 Harford Next Master Plan, as well as the Joppatown Community Plan from 2003. So here we are at the 10-year anniversary of Harford Next, and I understand that it is not binding legislation, it is a guideline, and it has been very poorly followed. That applies to this council, prior councils, this administration, prior administrations. It runs deep, and it's a lot of moving parts, and I understand that, but we as a county, as a body politic, as a county administration, all need to work better and work harder at following the guidelines that were set and making sure that we're doing that. That Harford Next Master Plan started, the very first line, in May of 1608. Captain John Smith, we've all heard of him in history class, wrote the following passage in his diary as he navigated the rocks and viewed the Susquehanna River near what was to become Harford County. Heaven and earth never agreed better to frame a place for man's habitation. Here are mountains, hills, plains, valleys, rivers, and brooks, all running most pleasant into a fair bay. And the goal of the Harford Next was to maintain and enhance quality of life in Harford County. And while that has been to some degree successful, there have been a lot of bullet points that have been neglected, overlooked, and ignored. Livable communities being one of them. Encouraging quality infill and mixed-use developments. There at one point was a Magnolia Overlay District that was legislated and then kind of legislated into obsolescence and selection. And now we in the Joppa community are dealing with a lot of stormwater runoff from a oversized residential development. You have heard plenty about that already. I won't bore you. Economic vitality. Harford County has for a long time had a heavy reliance on APG and our agriculture, and that is great. They're both great things to have here. But we need some more mix. That's 53% of the county's workforce, as of 2016 anyway, worked outside of the county. I think that's unacceptable. Redevelopment along the US 40 corridor has been, as the executive alluded to, it's been talked about for decades. We've made some very small baby steps. We need to make bigger steps. Environmental stewardship. This one, the county gets a B+. We've done a lot, but as I mentioned, Ridges Reserve has not been defended against nearly as well as it could have. Harford Next recommended a tree canopy program for urban areas. I haven't seen any of that. Ag preservation's been great.
Mr. Beck, please bring your comments to a
Oh,
close.
I apologize.
That's okay.
I wasn't paying attention. The Joppa Town Community Plan was virtually ignored, and I imagine probably all the community
Thank you,
plans
Mr.
from
Beck.
were.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please.
Sir, good evening to you and your colleagues. John P. Malamo, 2402 Eagle View Drive, Bel Air, Maryland, 21015. I discussed the airport with County Executive Castley and members of the staff. I explained the operation of the Harford County Airport, related zoning laws, and the authorities of Harford County in the matter. I left him with questions regarding the operation. Number one question: does the commercial operation currently employed at 3538 Aldina Road, Harford County Airport, comply with all relevant sections of Part 1, Chapter 267 of the Zoning Code and the conditions of the decision of Zoning Case 5814? An uncomfortable question with an inconvenient answer. None of those questions were answered. The county executive staff responded that the Department of Planning and Zoning regulates certain limited aspects of the airport operations. However, most of the questions were outside the purview of the Department of Planning and Zoning. Interpretation, application, and enforcement of federal and state laws relative to an airport is left to the Maryland Aviation Administration and/or the Federal Aviation Administration. That response exposes a profound ignorance of the laws related to land use, zoning authorities, and the authorities of the county. The U.S. Supreme Court in Griggs versus Allegheny County ruled that it is the local authorities that determine whether and where an airport can operate within their jurisdiction. The Maryland Department of Transportation ruled that they did not have zoning authority in Harford County. County land use and zoning laws are dominant authorities. The FAA and MAA laws and regulations are servient. Those agencies review a county-approved airport, then determine whether the airport meets their requirements. I would offer that the questions I asked were all directly related to land use, zoning, and zoning authority. The commercial operation in the airport described in the application for special exception in Zoning Case 5814 did not describe an airport prescribed by the FAA or MAA regulations and laws. An MAA or FAA prescribed airport was never presented to the Zoning Board of Appeals, was not considered by that body, and was not approved by them. The Department of Planning and Zoning is charged to review applications for special exception for compliance with the zoning code. Special exceptions for general aviation airports require determination of the land upon which the commercial operation is conducted and includes airspace for approach and landing pads upon that land. The administration is bound by the extant determination and now cannot reflect their failures to enforce the code and decisions of Zoning Case 5814. Responsibility lies directly with the county executive and Department of Planning and Zoning. They failed at that and now simply ignore the law. Ignorance of the law is cured by education. There is no cure for ignoring the law. Harford County is afflicted by those who ignore the law. Residents suffer for the mischief they inflict. Superman told Lois Lane, "I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way." Lois Lane laughed and replied, "You're going to end up fighting every elected official in this country." No doubt, Superman faces a Herculean task in Harford County. Good night.
Good night, sir. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please.
Sure.
And Happy New Year to you, Mr. Whalen. I haven't seen you for quite some time.
Yes, I'll go into that. Bill Whalen, 415 Cedar Springs Road, Bel Air, Maryland, 21015, District C. As Mr. Vanzetti and other council members know, I've been an advocate for the rights of citizens for well over 10 years and spoken before this council and past council many times prior to 2025. I have not attended sessions in 2025 for several reasons, not just related to health issues. Ms. Robert and Ms. Anoff became members in January and April, so we have never formally met. However, I do watch legislative sessions online at my convenience, and I can pick and choose those portions to view. Frankly, I have lost some interest in attending sessions and becoming involved. There seems to be so much conflict and confrontation between the admin and the council. Started in 2022 with Mr. Bennett and went on from there downhill. Secondly, I've become increasingly disappointed and frustrated when I don't see progress made on some issues affecting the quality of life of citizens. My own personal experience with administration has not been good. They ignored responding to legitimate concerns and recommendations for zoning code changes and other matters. Communication, transparency, and accountability with me were not existent. There were violations of the zoning code and promises for changes that were not made. Let's face it, with all the internal and external lawsuits, dishonesty, and ethical issues that are going on, people have lost faith and trust in the government and how they govern it. So much for that. Another subject, proposed Costco project. I sent council members a copy of a press release of January 9th that had invited the public to view and comment on road improvements drafted by the county to mitigate traffic impacts. I would have liked to read all of those publicly, but the time is not going to permit. Several highlights. There was a past opportunity for the county to intervene. They did not. Proposed road improvements are not going to mitigate traffic congestion at the site along Maryland 24, Maryland 924, and Toll Road going north or south to and from Bel Air and 995. And if you travel those, you know what it exists today. P&Z has estimated a total of 14,460 weekday vehicle trips and 18,740 Saturday vehicle trips. That's not small numbers. They have used the ITE generation manual for vehicle trips. They're historically lower than actual trips and not precise for this application. There have been 4 revisions. Sorry, I'm going to run. If you just give me a little route beyond that. There have been 4 revisions to the traffic impact analysis that were not approved by State Highway or the county. One was in July 24, and the last was November 25. It will be interesting to see if the county accepts the recommendations from the public and the deadlines
Mr.
the
Whalen,
23rd.
please
I will
bring your
wrap it
comments
up.
to a close.
I will wrap it up. There's one question to conclude. If road improvements cannot mitigate the traffic impacts, how can this project be accepted?
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Whalen. It's a pleasure seeing you as well.
Thank you. Good
Yes,
to
sir.
see you.
16, business from council members, Ms. Imhoff.
Good evening. This week I was able to attend the ribbon cutting and grand opening for our very popular Seven Brew Coffee Company. It is the first one in Maryland, and we talk a lot about bringing business to Harford County, and to have such a respected corporation not only invest in Maryland, but invest in Harford County first. Traffic aside, they're working through it. They've asked us to give them a couple of weeks to work through it. But it is a very welcome addition to a community in a building that hasn't had a business for a while. So it is part of that redevelopment plan that we often talk about. I was also able to attend the Young Farmers and Rangers Legislative Breakfast yesterday morning, where we were able to talk about generational and fiscal needs, as well as opportunities, both legislative and community-wise, for not just our current farmers, but for generations to come. We talk a lot about agricultural pride in Harford County. In order to keep agriculture, you have to keep people who want to keep working the agriculture, and you have to make it worth their investment. I also want to share a fun community event coming up on Friday, January 16th. The Harford County Public Library is hosting its 8th annual Fairy Tale and Superhero Festival at the Abingdon Library. Everyone is invited to come dressed as your favorite fairy tale character, superhero, or everyday hero. There will be scavenger hunts, dance parties, STEM activities, superhero training obstacle course, and more, and I will be reading my story at 2 o'clock, so come say hello. I also want to I have a fun District B shout out. One of our very own from Folsom Crossing that I got to meet a couple months ago, Rudy Leon Dinglis, will be appearing on Wheel of Fortune next week, Friday, January 23rd, so please tune in and support him. He's great. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Imhoff. Mr. Jandrodana.
Thank you, Council President. I as well was at Seven Brew, but I think what's more important, Seven Brew, the building that was there had to come down because every Seven Brew has to have their own building. So you're looking at $1.7 million in building cost and everything ancillary to that, double lanes. Now, there's also 3 other Seven Brews that are coming to Harford County. One in Edgewood, one in Forest Hill, one in Bel Air. More importantly, they came from Carroll County. And I asked the gentleman, why not Carroll County? Why aren't you building one in Carroll County? He said, I can't find a pad site in Carroll County or a owner of a building who's willing to let me knock down an old Roy Rogers or something like that and build it up. So some of these stores up there have been vacant for 2 years, and he couldn't get them to budge on that. He did have the opportunity to go into some of the other counties further down, PG County and stuff, and Montgomery County, and he did not want to go there. So I think it's a testament that he couldn't do it in Carroll County. He came to Harford County, and the amount of money that they put in building these stores and the amount of people that go and work there, young people, but just people work there, I think it's a big thing. So I want to acknowledge that his investment is ongoing, a couple more stores, and then I'm glad he chose Harford County, and it's Carroll County's loss. So also was at the Young Farmers and Ranchers Legislative Breakfast yesterday. I think one of the big things talked about there was the meat packing plant that they're trying to build down on Perryman Peninsula, and how the farmers go all the way up into Pennsylvania, and that some of them, even from Garrett County, would come here with that. So that was our big question. What are we going to be able to do with that? So, and I think if anybody's seen the recent pyramid gone upside down, they're talking about more fats, more meats for people to eat. I personally have gone to more of a carnivore diet, and it's really helped out, especially if you're diabetic with the blood sugar. So I think that's all I have, Council President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jandrodana. Mr. Riley.
Yes, I also had the privilege of attending the Young Farmers Breakfast, and I was glad to see Mr. Tibbs there. As most of us know, Mr. Tibbs is a farmer. He's young at heart, but he's really there supporting those folks. So thank you, Mr. Tibbs, for being there. They did deal with some legislative concerns that will be coming up, not only for this council, but as you know, the Maryland General Assembly is back in session. That starts tomorrow. As the representative here at Harford County Council, I'll be going down there to get involved in all that mudslide going on down there. So that's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Ms. Saddles.
Thank you, Council President. Last week, my aide and I attended several board meetings, including the Cultural Arts Board meeting to discuss funding opportunities and strategic planning. The Route 40 Business Association was also last week, and the Hartford TV Board meeting. This Thursday, January 15th at 6:30 is the Churchville, Cresswell, Fountain Green, Dublin, Darlington Community Advisory Board meeting, and it will be held at the Churchville Recreation Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Saddles. Mr. Bennett.
Hello, good evening. Good to be with everybody this evening. Mr. Whalen, it's really good to have you back. I'm sorry to hear that you felt a loss of interest, because I really think it's those of you who persistently come week after week and provide feedback. I think your role in many ways is more important than the 7 of us up here, because we come and go, but you're still here, and that provides continuity for our county. So thank you for being here, and I hope to have you back more often. And I just want to make sure to honor and recognize that Martin Luther King Jr. Day is coming up this upcoming Monday, the 19th. You know, I encourage people to use it as a day of service, to give back to the community, and to recognize the holiday. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. So 17 business from Council President. I too,
Oh, you got one more.
I'm sorry, Nalanda.
I know it's only been a year.
I'm ready to move on. Miss Robert.
Thank you. So on January 7th, I attend the Hartford Microtransit Study Stakeholder Meeting. And what that means for us is that they are looking at a microtransit system in Edgewood and in Aberdeen, which is going to be like an Uber for people to call. It'll be $2 a ride, and it's really to get people to and from in a local area. They have agreed to put ours for District A all the way down to Joppatown, which is good because we want them to include Joppatown so they can get to Joppatown to Edgewood. So it's still a work in progress. It's really down to funding at this point, what that looks like. But based on the surveys, everyone is excited about this system coming to the areas. I went to coffee with the Women's Commission. It was a great conversation, and it was the Women's Commission's really trying to figure out their niche on helping out the community. And it was great discussion. I found that they're going to do some great things after that discussion we had. I'm not going to say what it was. I let them reveal their newfound thing. And then I too was at the Young Farmers and Ranchers Legislative Breakfast. I love going to things like that because I know nothing about farming. So it's always an education for me. And I really like the aspect of the local foods in schools. A couple other states they were talking about have those programs in there, and it promotes healthy eating. And I know my work in Baltimore City Schools, there's not a lot of healthy lunch going on. So I'm hoping they can get some more of that into our school system. And I want to say a special thank you to all those who donated to Joppatown High School. They had a need. I sent out an email, and the need was met. They had more boxes of tissues than they ever thought they could imagine, and they were very, very appreciative of it. I would also like to dovetail that Monday is Martin Luther King Day. I will be doing a service project with the NAACP, and we will be making food bags for those who need it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Robert. My apologies for missing you. I don't know how I ever did that. 17, business from the president. I too attended the Young Farmers Legislative Breakfast, and it is always a pleasure to sit and chat with them and get their idea and visions for the future. And that's one of the greatest things that we do by preserving this ag land is we give them the opportunity to farm well into the future. I also want to thank Severn Brew for their contributions to the Hartford Community Action Agency. I think it was $2,000 they gave them. So it's a great organization. I'm glad they support them. And then finally, for the record, Mr. Overbay, as far as our council meetings, they're as needed, they're not stopped. So make sure you correct the county executive and let him know that you and I talk on a regular basis. So there's no breach. We just will get together when it's necessary. Thank you. And with that, we'll adjourn this meeting.